How's everybody doing today? So what I want to talk about is I hate using the word chosen ones. It's basically individuals that are on a spiritual journey to basically become enlightened to a certain degree and teach others about spirituality and metaphysics and stuff like that. We go through a lot, and some of you may experience this, some of you don't, depending on what type of journey you're supposed to be on and what you're supposed to do for the world, like destiny is concerned. But for a lot of us, a lot of metaphysical people call it the chosen ones. I just refer to certain spiritual people on a spiritual journey deal with this because there's a lesson to be learned, and the universe has to put you through this in order for you to actually fully embody and develop that energetic knowledge and experience and subconscious energy and knowledge and wisdom. And what it is a lot of us will go through years of one being broke. I had to deal with that for a long time, and then second being lonely. Now when I say lonely, you may even be in a relationship and you'll feel lonely because that person is detached from you because they're energetically not responsive to how you are. Now, if you did find somebody else that's like pretty spiritual and is like compatible, good on you. But for a lot of us that have to learn that lesson, we realize that even when you're with somebody, you still feel lonely, and it can be even if you have children, you'll still feel lonely. Just because you have children doesn't mean that you're like in the presence of feeling accompanied, because when your children's you're there to teach them. You're the father and you're the mother, so you're there to teach them. You're there to support them. Yes, they're there as companions on some level. You talk to them and they respond back to you, but you're in the father mother role, and thus not kind of like it's not like a direct equivalency. You love them unconditionally, and it's probably the best blessing that you'll ever have is having children in your life. If you haven't had them yet, or if you have them, you know that. For a lot of us on a spiritual journey, but they're not equal compatibly as a exchanger of information, so to speak, for like a spiritual journey, like a soulmate would be, or a energetic brother or sister tied to you, where you can share what you're dealing with and that type of thing. I think you get what I'm saying here. I'm not telling any tales on the dynamic of how friends and family the work and how the dynamic is different. The brothers and sisters. When I say brothers and sisters, I'm referring to like energetic, like friend tie, like lifelong friend ties and stuff like that. Or it could be your real life brother or sister, but I'm saying the equivalency. You're like not a child. You're both adults, and you're dealing with these religious and spiritual things that happen in our life, and hardships and whatnot. So you're lonely and you're broke. Now, it's a double whammy at that point, right? Because not only are you suffering from not being able to pay your bills, and you're saving up money, you're saving up 4 months for $100 just to pay off a bill that's already past due, and then another $100 is coming up. You're already $300 behind, and you saved up for 4 months just for $100, and you're eating like top ramen and stuff like that. That's real sacrifice and hardship. And in our current society, especially in America, that it shouldn't be happening. So you're like, well, I'm living in this first world society. Or you could be in another country like Britain or Germany and other examples of first world countries, right? You're like, why am I suffering like I'm almost homeless, and when I work a full-time job? Because you're being dredged through the hell in order to wake up. You have to activate those certain chakras in your subconscious mind and your superconscious mind, and tying yourself to the universe in such a grand way that you have to be pulled through the suffering. You have to experience this, and you even maybe became bitter on some level. I suffered from this. I suffered from like depression and bitterness because I was dealing with it for such a long time, being broke and lonely, that I'm like, at this point, it's like, what's the point, right? Well, I have to deal with this for such a long time, and I see everybody else thriving and just being happy and having a great relationship and going out with friends and having a good time, and they content. Then when they wake up in the morning, they're content. When you're dragged through the suffering, there's a newfound, I can't give it a term. I can't give it a word that's understandable for it. It's like you're dragged through hell to be able to become enlightened, basically. And in order for you to become on this type of enlightenment, you have to be dragged through hell. And if you don't get dragged through hell, then this energy you'll never tap into it. This type of this frequency of enlightenment, because you had to experience this in order to get up to here to get this. And there's all different types of frequencies of positivity, right? It's not linear. There's like multiple paths to get into a higher vibration, and there's a lot of ways we can do it. And there's certain paths that go to certain directions, and not everybody becomes. Once again, terminology becomes enlightened in the same way. I don't like the term enlightened. I don't like the term chosen ones. But remember, like I said in my previous videos, don't get wrapped up in my terminology. I'm using language in order for you to understand what I'm saying. So, to get to this certain vibration, you have to be dredged through the mud and the hell. And you're like, why me? Why am I getting through this when no one else has to suffer like this? I tried my hardest not to be broke. I tried my hardest not to be lonely, and I was still experiencing it. Well, it was a test and a challenge that you had to go through. And once you kind of like break the barrier wall of what was holding you back from being lonely, I mean, from being able to find somebody you're content with and not feeling lonely, and abundance where you're not feeling broke or lacking of paying bills and that type of stuff. You had to become this certain type of vibration in order to fly over the top of the wall. Not necessarily, I always use the term breaking down the wall, but the vibration can also take you over the top of the wall. You can fly over it. You don't have to just break through the center of it. You can fly over it without even lifting a finger, right? Like you just float over the top of it and be on the other side. Because it doesn't take effort. It's just wholeheartedly belief that God in the universe is protecting you, and you understand that you're put through this broke and lonely position so you can become this type of enlightened, to float over that wall of the wall of despair, so to speak. And not all of us go over that wall. Some of us go over different types of walls. Some of you might be very abundant financially. You've always had money, even when you were born, your parents had money. But then now you're encountering other stuff, like you feel like some of the people in your life are demons because they're trying to draw money from you all the time, and two-faced, and they're just hanging around you because you have money, and you know it, and you're like, wow, if I didn't have any money, these people wouldn't even talk to me. They'd spit on me on the sidewalk if I was homeless. And you realize that, and you wake up. So spiritual journey, like, you could be born rich and still be on a spiritual journey, because it's about connection and energy through the universe, and you're a co-creator of this universe. So it's not about your attachment to the materialism is what keeps you in that form, in that vibration. But once you realize you're a co-creator of the universe, then that's when you're like, some of that stuff where I'm saying if you're lonely or broke, you realize like, oh, well, that's just a test, because if everything's energy, then this energy was thrown at me as a test, and it's not like I'm not a victim of circumstance. The victim of circumstance mentality doesn't let you float over that wall of despair. You won't feel lonely anymore, because you'll find that right person that gives you companionship to where you're not feeling lonely. Because some of us are extroverted and some of us are introverted. From people that know me now, I'm more extrovert. I'm way more extroverted. I'm willing to talk all the time. When I was younger, I was a little bit more introverted, even though I was kind of like a class clown. I joke around a lot. But I was still introverted. I didn't want to just like go up to anybody and just start rack up a conversation. I'll do that now. I could go into a store and just like notice something on somebody's t-shirt or whatever and just start talking a whole conversation, making a conversation out of somebody's t-shirt. And talk to everybody around me. Very extroverted now. But it doesn't matter if you're extroverted or introverted, because you'll understand how the way the connections work. For you to be on a spiritual journey, you don't have to be extroverted and you don't have to be introverted. You can be both, or a combination of one or the other, or somewhere in between. It's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about connection. Companionship is an energetic exchange. It's not verbal. Matter of fact, verbal communication is only 20% of communication. If you ever take a college class based on like body language and people's actions and stuff like that, a lot of actions and body language is more communicative. And, the way you're looking at somebody is way more communicative than actual verbiage. Verbiage just happens when you're trying to like educate somebody on giving them some knowledge they may not know. That's all vocal communication works. It's like, oh, you don't know how they made hats, so I'm telling you how they thread the thread and this and that, and now you know. But that's not a companionship interaction. That's just straight knowledge. Like you're reading a book. I'm telling you what the book says like how to make a hat. That's just a form of knowledge that you're going to gain. Oh, now I know how to make a hat, or I know how to wear a hat properly, or whatever the case may be. It can be something. I'm just using that as an example. But companionship is you can sit side by side with each other, and your energy that you're exchanging and you're sharing with each other is comforting, even when you're not saying something. That is the companionship that I'm referring to. You don't even have to talk. You could be just doing two completely different things. One person could be playing video games. The other one could be sewing a shirt or making tea, or whatever the case may be. That energy exchange is that they're comfortable around each other. That's the companionship that I'm talking about. Where you don't feel lonely. That person's around a lot. Or maybe they only show up like once or twice a week, but that's enough to carry you through the rest of the week. So once you learn how to become enlightened enough to fly over that wall of despair where you're not feeling lonely anymore, you'll understand that you had to be dredged through the hell in order to be able to experience that, because you probably may have not even recognized it if you didn't go through the hell. You would have passed them on the street and just like took it for granted. Let's say you were I'm just throwing numbers out here, 11 years old. You're an 11-year-old, probably don't know much as far as wisdom's concerned and the way adults communicate, right? You cross a person that you feel pretty good around them, and you were friends with them for a little bit, and then you forgot about them and let them go. But you didn't understand the companionship that was having, because you weren't dragged through hell yet. You were a child learning and developing and seeing eyes with you're looking at the world with wonder, and everything is fantastic. It's like, oh, that's a friend. Of course that person's a friend. We're all friends here. Kids think everyone's friends. They don't understand the dynamic of enemy and stuff until maybe later on in bullying in school and that type of thing. But they don't fully. Then when you look back on it when you're a kid, it's like, wow, I really actually had a companionship with that person. It was a true friendship. But you would never know that unless you were dragged through hell. Now, so now you're an adult, you're being dragged through hell, and then you meet somebody that you're companion with, and then it's not always it doesn't always have to be a person too. Your energy your energy sphere, you're happy even by yourself, like knowing that you're a co-creator of the universe, and there's like a massive like collective consciousness can give you comfort to where you're feeling peace and not loneliness. That energy will give you the same feeling as being around that other person. So, it took me a while to describe that, but I wanted to get to that point too, that it's not just in another individual. Don't look outside yourself, because you have to look inside yourself first to not feel lonely. Because that energy, you can be completely by yourself and not feel lonely, because you're surrounded by the creative energy is not loneliness. It's a connection consciousness on an ESP level that you'll find peace there. I'm just starting to realize that. That's why I'm talking about it kind of like for the first time. It's like I said, I'm still on a spiritual journey, so there's things I'm experiencing. It's not like, oh, I experienced everything and now I'm just going to be a guru on YouTube. So I admit, I always tell the truth. I'm still experiencing and learning things, and I will continue to do that until the end of it. We all will. But this past year, I've been feeling what I've been talking about, and I'm like, man, why is this happening? Because why do I feel lonely when I have children? It doesn't make sense. And it's like, oh, it's because I did not figure out how to float over that wall of despair, and now I'm starting to wake up to it. Why was I broke for such a long time? Oh, because of what I was talking about. Now I understood it. So that's why I'm telling you now, because I want you to understand. Because you might be watching the videos, or you might be watching other people's YouTube videos, and be like, yeah, all this information is nice and good, but I still feel lonely, so whatever, this doesn't matter. And I understand where you're coming from. That's why I'm talking about this video right now. This is kind of like, this video that I'm giving you is kind of behind the scenes. I'm not going to do a Patreon. I thought about, I'm not going to do a Patreon setup with my YouTube channel. All the information I'm giving to you is free for access on YouTube. Even the modules where I'm going to teach you how to do it step by step, I'm not charging you for that. I have something in the works. I don't know the timeline. I don't know when it's going to bring. Within this next year, within the next 12 months, I'm going to bring out a 10-step module where I'm going to teach you how to practice everything that I've been saying in these videos. We'll talk about journaling, your emotions on a daily basis. We'll talk about meditational practices, the things that you do. If you've been watching my videos, you kind of understand this. But if I give you a 10-module lesson plan on what you're supposed to be doing every single day, down to like the very minute detail, it'll help you follow it, because I'm going to challenge you to do this 10-module weekly challenge. So it'll probably be something like 10 weeks. I'm giving you a little foreshadowing on my channel. It'll be like 10 weeks, and for 1 week you'll be doing each of these activities. And it's on you, because I'm not a teacher that's like grading you on this at the end. You're going to be, at the end of the week, you're going to have to evaluate and say, man, I'm behind now. And you're going on the next week, and they're like, what is Brandon talking about? Because you didn't do the previous module, so you won't understand how to hit the second week, because you'll start falling behind. And they say, well, I can just go back and watch those modules before. Yes, you can. But energetically, I'm trying to get everybody to do it all at once. So, yeah, I'm just going back to what I was saying. I'm not going to do a Patreon, so don't expect that. I'm going to show you like the insights of behind the scenes on my channel. Yeah, I might make. I'm thinking about creating another YouTube channel, and that's gonna be an entirely different thing. It's not even gonna be spiritual. It's gonna be something fun that has to do with my day-to-day life. I kind of want to do that. And that'll be a different thing. But this spiritual channel is free as long as you, whenever they start putting ads up in between the breaks and what I talk and all that stuff, you have to deal with the ads. I apologize, but that's not something that I did. It was something YouTube was doing to like make sure everyone gets paid on YouTube, and so you can watch these videos because it's like free TV, right? And I understand that. That's why I watch other YouTube videos. I just wait to get through the advertisements and then watch the rest of the video. I watch YouTube all the time. It's my favorite thing to watch. I don't normally watch. I'm not on Netflix and stuff like that. I like watching people's real content. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an insight of what's going to happen with the channel. I might start another channel. I'll link that in the description. It'll probably be happening within the next year. I'm planning on moving in about 6 months. So there's a little bit more foreshadowing for you on that. There's something that was like, there was, let me tell you, there was an alignment that happened in order for me to make this move, and I'll explain it to you in detail after it happens. But it was something, it happened in a spiritual way. The reason why I'm moving in about 6 months. And when that happens, I'll tell you why. And I know there's not many people watching this channel right now, but if you come back and watch it, then you'll understand that there was foreshadowing, because there was a little bit of destiny in play. I'll also talk a little bit about, now I'm learning more about Zodiac. It's actually by chance, because I never really studied and researched Zodiac that much. I only tell you a little bit of what I know, but wasn't fully invested. But Zodiac stuff actually keeps getting thrown at me. That's why I started talking about the full moon and all that. But astrocartography became involved in the reason and why, partly why I'm moving. It's all tied together in one thing. So I'm kind of excited about it, because it was a spiritual event. It was kind of like a multiple spiritual event that made this happen. And you'll see why I'm moving in 6 months. 6 to 7 months from now, I'll probably be off the channel for about a month while I'm doing the move and getting set up and stuff like that. But I'm super excited for that. I hope you liked this video, and as always, greatly appreciate you guys watching my videos, and have a nice day.